Hi guys, me again. So I'm really sorry, but this video might be a bit long. I'm going to be talking about how I do my food budget, how I keep my food budget super low, so hopefully it will help or give you some ideas of how I do it or how it's possible to do. Grab a cup of tea and I hope you enjoy it. My dad hasn't been very well, so sorry I've been a little bit quiet, but my dad's been poorly, but he's on the mend, he's okay. I just think there's so many viruses and bugs and stuff going around at the moment, isn't there? So yeah, that's why I've been quiet this weekend. So I thought I'd start a new blanket, and this is going to be, this is a blue, green and like a rusty colour. It's a different pattern. It's all double crochets or triple crochet stitches, UK term, and I just do one line of double crochets and then one line of like triple double crochets into one stitch, like you would like make a granny square. I saw this pattern online. I'm not following the colours. The colours I'm just doing anyway. I've got 4 colours: dark blue, light blue, rust and green. So I'm busy making another blanket. This one's coming together a lot quicker. So then over the weekend I have seen a lot of people asking about food budgets, how much people spend a week, a month for a family or whatever. They've only got a certain amount of money, is this going to last them, and how they can reduce their food budgets. So I thought I'd talk a little bit about my food budget just in case it helps somebody. Sorry, my hair's all over the place today. Yeah, I thought I'd talk about my food budget to see if it helps somebody, or maybe you guys can help me make my food budget even better or work better. First thing I do is I work out my food budget, and this changes every month. I don't do it like, oh, in January now, this week's food budget is so much, or this month's. I do it as a monthly thing. Yeah, my food budget is £100. Now in February it might change. I might only have £20. So if I spend £100 in February, I'm overspending by 80. So I work my budget out every month. You might need to work your budget out every week. So that's what I do. And so I have my budget of £80, say, and then I don't think, oh, is that going to last? No, it has to last. That's how I think. It has to last me. That £80 has to feed me and my son. So when people ask in these groups, oh, is that going to be enough? No, it has to be enough. And then I have to find a way to make that budget work without getting freaked out. So it started in 2022. My finances got really scary and money got stupidly tight, whereas I didn't have any money for food, or if I did, it was a teeny tiny amount. I panicked. I never want to be in that situation again. It gives me food anxiety. I have got food anxiety, where my food anxiety is not being able to feed my son, and so that got massive, and I thought, I've got to control this. I've got to control it. And you guys were absolutely amazing. My subscribers, wow, everybody that came to my channel was just great, and they helped me so much. Now, with all the bills and everything going up again, price of food going up again, but I'm not going to panic. I know what to do. I know what to do. I'm prepared. I started a food pantry, so I have got backup. First thing I do is I work out my budget, and then I think, right, how am I going to make it work? Where am I going to get this food from for £80 a month? I live in a city, and so I've got lots and lots of supermarkets around. I've got lots of resources available to me to get this food. So I am extremely lucky, and I know not a lot of people won't have as much as I've got here. They may have more, but they won't have as much as I've got here, but this is what I do. So on my phone I have an app called Olio. It's volunteers. They go to supermarkets or wherever and pick up excess food that's gone out of date or going out of date that they're going to chuck. So these volunteers then go pick it all up. I think they're allowed to keep like 15% of it. It might be more. They're allowed to keep 15% of the food and they have to give the rest away. So when I go on Olio, mostly what there is bread and pastries. Then there's also another part of Olio every person can use, and if they've got spare food or food in their cupboards that they no longer want, they can advertise that too, like tins and tea and coffee, whatever, anything. They also have a non-food bit as well. So that's the first thing I check. I go on Olio to see if there's anything there and anything close to me. Then I have Too Good To Go app, which I have done a few videos on, the magic bags that I collect. The ones I mainly use now. Oh, one of my bakeries has closed down. I don't know what's happened to it. They've just gone. But the cakes were absolutely amazing and I'm really sad he's gone. Really sad. A couple of places I use, Aldi, Starbucks, because it's right by the trampoline park, so when we finish there I can pop and get it. And I used to use Morrison's loads. They used to be amazing, but every time I've ordered off Morrison's now they refund my money and say there isn't any available. The other Morrison's, the food is mouldy, it's rubbish, it's awful. Absolutely awful. So I just don't bother with Morrison's anymore. I stick to Aldi and a couple of the bakeries. Next I go to a food pantry. I can get a bag or a box of food once a week for £5, and that includes fresh fruit and vegetables, fridge items, frozen items, a couple of frozen items, and bread, baked goods as well, like bread and stuff like that. Then if they've got, like, some weeks they'll have extras like tea and sugar and milk and eggs, things like that. So I go to the food pantry, that's £5 once a week. And then there's also a few food banks. Then another thing I do is I go online and look at all the shops to see what they have got on offer. So Lidl do a pick of the week, Aldi do their Super 6, and these are fruit and vegetables on special offer and also meat items that are on special offer. They usually start on a Thursday and finish the following Wednesday. I think Aldi do theirs for 2 weeks, whereas Lidl change their offers every Thursday. I get an email from Farm Foods. They email me their offers. Sometimes you get a flyer through the post. There's Tesco's, Asda, Sainsbury's. Asda now are doing a price match with Aldi's and Lidl. So yeah, we'll see. Sainsbury's do a price match to Aldi's. I think there's some good deals in Sainsbury's to have, especially if you've got a Nectar card. I have a look online. Now then, I never food plan or make a meal plan. I never meal plan. Some people say, you know, on Monday we're having this, Tuesday we're having that. I don't do that because I've tried to do many times and I think, why can't I do this meal plan? Why can't I do it? And the reason is because I go to the shops or I buy food that's on special offer. I don't meal plan and then buy my food for that meal plan because it just costs too much. I can't do it. So what I do is I check around the offers first. I buy those good offers and then I make my meals out of that. So I can't choose what we want to eat. You know, I can't say, oh, I fancy a steak tomorrow night. Unless that steak is like, I don't know, 50p on yellow sticker. There's no way I can afford steak. So that's what I do. I have a look at the offers and then I make my meal plan. So I buy the food first and I only buy food that we eat. Yeah, so let me go through some of the offers that I found this week. We'll start in Lidl. So their pick of the week this week, they've got a bag of spinach, 450 grams for £1.29. Not a chance. We're not massively keen on spinach. My son will eat it. I'll eat it raw, but I'm not paying £1.29. I like to keep my stuff for under £1. Avocados, 49p, each, absolutely great, but me and my son don't eat avocados, so there's no point buying them just because they're cheap. And there's nothing that I can put them into to make a meal that we would eat. So no. Onions, I've got white onions, 1 kilogram bag for 69p. That is a great buy. I use onions in everything, and they're great and cheap for adding flavour, extra vitamins to your meal. Then they've got 2 packs of peppers for 99p. Not a great deal, so I wouldn't get them. By paying a bit more, you can have a lot more peppers, or just buy one, because they're thin, pointy, long ones, so I'm sure 1 pepper would weigh more than those 2 and it'd be cheaper. They've got some white cabbages for 59p. They go by individual, they don't go by weight per kilo, it's just per item. So go around, have a feel, pick them up, weigh them, get as much as you can for your money. And they've also got a 6-pack of apples for 69p, and that's a really good deal as well. So there's a couple of things I would get from Lidl. Then I went over to Aldi, and their Super 6 this week is sweet for 49p. Again, weigh them because it's per item, not per kilo. That's a great deal. Savoy cabbages, 49p, so cheaper than the white cabbage. Personally, I would go and get one of each. But if you could only afford one, go for the Savoy, weigh it, get more for your money. Then they had a pack of 4 kiwis for 69p and a bag of oranges, 5 for 69p. Now, I wouldn't personally buy the kiwis for 69p because you only get 4 and they're not as big as an orange. I would go for the oranges because you get more for your money, you get an extra orange and they're bigger and you can cut them up. You know, having half a kiwi, oranges will last longer and you get more. Then they've got a bag of Chantenay carrots, 500 grams, 49p. I don't think that's a great deal either when they do a bag of wonky carrots, 1.5 kilos. And I know they used to be about 70p. Yeah, I'd leave the carrots. When you're out shopping, you need to look for price per 100 gram or price per kilo. In Aldi's, they also have apples for 59p. Now, the pick of the week in Lidl's and the Super 6 in Aldi's, they're always very similar. This week, the apples are cheaper and the cabbage is cheaper in Aldi. So, you know, if you've got a Lidl and Aldi, just check both of them. Just check both of them. Then Aldi had 2 kilogram of chicken drumsticks. They also have special offer on meat. Sorry, I just noticed the battery on my camera is going flat. The meat in Aldi, they're on special offer. I didn't choose any of the other meat because it was really expensive. Way out of budget, not a chance. But they got some chicken drumsticks, 2 kilograms for £4. So that's £2 a kilo. So I thought, oh, that's a really, really good, really good deal. I could get all those drumsticks for £4. So then I went over to Lidl to see what theirs were, and theirs weren't on special offer, but they're doing 1 kilogram of chicken drumsticks for £1.49 a kilo. So if you got 2 kilos of chicken drumsticks from Lidl, it'd be £3 instead of £4 from Aldi. So yeah, try and get used to looking at how much it costs per 100 grams or per kilo. I don't know if it was Aldi or Lidl, they had a bag of chicken nuggets. And these chicken nuggets, I think there's 37 chicken nuggets and they were £3 something for this massive bag, and you think, oh wow, that's a great deal. But if you looked per kilo, it was £2.30 something. So the chicken drumsticks are still cheaper than that massive bag of chicken nuggets. Don't buy a lot of processed stuff because it does cost more, so I don't tend to buy it unless I'm feeling like really lazy and I can work it into my budget. I do like buying fish fingers. I love a fish finger sandwich. I don't make my own fish fingers. I will buy chicken nuggets, absolutely, instead of making them if I'm feeling lazy. But most of the time I tend to cook from scratch, especially with my budget that's so tiny. So my budget doesn't stretch as much as it used to, but we just have to change our way of eating, that's all. So I've made my budget. I found out the really cheap places that I can get food from, and then I find out what I need to supplement, so I go and look for the deals online. I've just mainly concentrated on fruit and veg, but there are other deals to get out there. Farm Foods are doing a special offer on cheese at the moment, £1.79 for 350 grams, which is great. It's also a mature cheese that they're selling, so I really like mild, wimpy cheese. But if I can get stronger mature cheddar cheese for that price, £1.79, I'll absolutely take that. Because it's a stronger taste, I don't need as much either, and cheese is great for freezing. If you're doing a budget for the month, you don't want to be going to buy a load of salad stuff, because that you can't freeze it, it doesn't last long. So I tend to go for vegetables that I know are going to last longer, that I can freeze, that I can put in meals and then freeze. Also then, what I do after my fruit and veg, I go on to like carbs, things that are going to be cheap but are going to be filling. So my main ones are bread, rice and pasta. We eat a lot of white potatoes, a lot of white rice and a lot of white pasta because they're the cheapest. But if you're on a budget and you still want to have brown pasta and brown rice, it is doable, absolutely. But we tend to stick to white rice and white pasta. I like white bread, my son likes wholemeal. And what's good with bread is I can guarantee you that you can go into any supermarket later on at night and you can get reduced bread to stick in the freezer. You never have to pay full price for bread, and like on those Olio sites you can pick up that bread for free. When I get the Too Good To Go bags, usually if I go to a bakery or supermarket, there's always bread products, even bread rolls or loaves, there's bread. So bread is a really cheap thing to get. Yeah, so another thing we have is white potatoes. Eat a lot of white potatoes. My mum always used to say to me, if you've got a bag of potatoes, you can make a meal. And we also eat a lot of sweet potatoes. I also shop in season. I roughly know what kind of fruit and vegetables are in season at the moment, and I know they're going to be cheaper. They're not going to be flown in from miles away. I can get them from the UK and that makes them cheaper. Also, things that are coming to the end of their season, or how can I explain it? The end of the season. So, apples that they pick and they store, they will only store for so long before they start going bad. So then they might have a glut of apples that they need to get rid of, and they will reduce the price. So maybe that's why Aldi and Lidl have apples on special offer at the moment, because they were picked a while ago and they need to get rid of them now, and that's why they're cheaper. So at the moment, the kind of things that are in season is like, your earthy root vegetables and leafy veg, cabbages, kales, sprouts, you've got your carrots, you've got your parsnips, you've got your swede. Those are the kind of things, vegetables we eat in winter, and onions, because they are in season. There's plenty of them to get, and so it makes them cheaper. And the things that are not in season is things like strawberries and raspberries. My dad ordered some last week from Asda, and he said, oh, those raspberries and strawberries, they don't taste of anything. And I was like, well, no, they won't, because they're not in season in the UK. They've come from miles away. They've probably force grown under artificial light because it's cold somewhere. So what do you expect? They're not going to taste of anything, are they? You have to wait until they're in season, because then they will last longer and they will taste better. They will taste amazing. People ask me why I have my allotment, and that's why I have my allotment, because I cannot get any fresher food, and the taste is just a mile apart. Even though we get some gorgeous stuff from the UK, absolutely, but when you grow your own, you'll realise the taste difference. So sweet potato have been on special offer for 89p a kilo in Lidl. And so, you know, if you don't like white potatoes so much, there are sweet potatoes, buy them. You can store them for ages. If you prefer sweet potato to white potato, just have a look and get them when they're in season. Protein. Oh, this is a massive thing. It's so expensive. Meat is so expensive, but there are cheaper alternatives. If I'm getting meat, we tend to eat a lot of chicken because at the moment that is the cheapest. We don't eat that much fish unless we go fishing for it ourselves, which is trout. We do like mackerel, that's another thing, smoked mackerel or tinned mackerel. Not keen on tuna or pilchards or anything like that. Tinned meat used to be really, really cheap, but it's not anymore. You used to be able to buy really, really cheap cuts of meat as well. That's not available anymore. It's all gone really expensive. We tend to stick to chicken unless I can find yellow stickers or something on a real good deal. I used to buy sausages, frozen bag of sausages for £1 for 20 sausages, amazing, and I think they've gone up to like £2 now. But while I'm on a low budget, my first protein is chicken. That's the first meat I go for is chicken, and then I also have a look around if I can get anything cheaper. Farm Foods were doing frozen little chickens for £1.99. I managed to go and get 5 of them. I've still got 2 in the freezer. I cooked one yesterday for Sunday dinner and we've still got some left over for today. So hopefully that chicken will feed us today and tomorrow, just in different ways. But yeah, I'm not sure if they're still doing those £1.99 chickens. I think full price are £2.49, so still really cheap. They're not massive, but if you want a bit of chicken, that's a good thing to go for. Another cheap protein now is eggs. I know they're not as cheap as they used to be, but it's a really good way of getting a bit of extra protein. Another thing, beans and lentils. Beans, I grow my own beans at the allotment, my dried beans, so I don't tend to buy many dried beans anymore unless I can find them on a really good deal. Waitrose used to be amazing for dried beans, the cheapest place ever to buy good dried beans. You can buy them in tins as well if you want. Lentils, gosh, they've gone so expensive. I've been wanting some red lentils for a while now. Hopefully they'll come on sale, hoping they'll come on sale somewhere, but I haven't seen them. Lidl usually do them for like 15% off on the app. If you get the Lidl app, they do deals on there as well. But yeah, lentils, orange lentils, there's green lentils. I put green lentils in stew, red lentils if I want to bulk out meat dishes. So another meat I like to buy is mincemeat because you can get that quite cheap, and I get the higher fat content one and then drain the fat off it, and I add red lentils to it to bulk it out, be a bit more filling. Another one is peanut butter. Peanut butter, I don't buy peanut butter because we don't like it, so there's no point getting it, but it's high in fat, high in calories. It's a good source of protein. You can put it in loads of things. You can make it into different, you can have it on toast, you can have it in sandwiches, you can make it into a sauce and have it on your meal, so you can turn quite a bland meal into a nice tasty one. There's loads of things you can do with peanut butter. I buy milk and I buy yogurt. So I either buy the cheap 35p natural yogurt, strain it a little bit so it's a bit thicker, so we can have it a bit more like Greek yogurt, and I serve that with tinned fruit or some frozen fruit that I've frozen from the allotment, or I've picked off the apple tree and frozen them, or I make my own in the slow cooker. Now then, another thing I like to do is when I am buying my food is I like to think that it has more than one use. I can use it in lots of different ways. So now then, with the lentils, you can actually make lentil pancakes or lentil wraps. You can use it instead of meat. You can use it in dishes to bulk it out. So lentils is a good thing, you know, like I was saying with my potatoes, I can use them for breakfast, lunch or dinner. The vegetables I buy, I can use them again for breakfast, you know, like carrots. I can fry the carrots with a bit of potato, I can make a bit of like a hash brown for breakfast. I could grate them at lunchtime and have them on a sandwich, and then at night I can boil them and turn them into mash and have them instead of potatoes. I do that a lot. I put carrot and swede, mash it up and put it on top of like a cottage pie, or I serve it instead of mash, or add it to mash, you know. So that's how I like my food to work when I'm on a budget. Oh, another thing I haven't mentioned, sorry, is noodles as well. We eat a lot of noodles. Now then, I love buying bean sprouts, absolutely love it. But if I was on a super tight budget, I would not buy bean sprouts. They're not very high in calories. They have got loads of vitamins and minerals in them, absolutely. They are reasonably cheap. But apart from putting them raw on a salad or in a stir fry, I can't really make much with them. So I like my food to be multi-purpose as well and multi-use. Also, don't forget frozen fruit and vegetables and tinned fruit and vegetables. Tinned fruit and vegetables used to be so cheap. They're not so much anymore, but they're handy to have in the cupboard because they last a long time. I like buying bags of oats. Porridge oats now have doubled in price. They're like 90p. You still get a lot for your 90p. You can blend them, you can make it into flour, you can make oat pancakes or oat cakes, you can make oat milk. If you don't have enough money then to buy normal milk, you can buy oat milk with it. You can eat it hot or cold. You can make it with water. It's a great thing to have in your cupboards, and I've always got oats in my cupboard. They're full of fibre, they're full of iron and vitamin B6. You can have them for breakfast, you can have them for lunch, you can have dinner. Sometimes when I can't be bothered to cook, I get one of my frozen ready meals out the freezer for my son, and I will have a bowl of cereal, which is usually oats, and I love it with a bit of milk, cinnamon and raisins. I don't like it hot, I don't like it cooked, I don't like the texture. Cold oats, gorgeous. Another one of my favourite is Weetabix as well. Yeah, so that is the kind of stuff that I do when I work out my budget. I've got my budget for the month, and then I plan and make sure that I have got enough food for the month with that budget. I just make it work. And like I said, I never choose what I want to eat. I don't make a meal plan and then go shopping. I look around, I shop around, get my yellow stickers, go to the food pantry, Too Good To Go, Oreo, food banks, and I get my food, and then I plan what meals I can make with that food, how I can make it go further. When I'm cooking a meal, I usually make more than one portion, so then I can keep it in the fridge for the next day for leftovers, or I can freeze it to have further on down the line. And I keep a stock of all the food that I've got. You know, look at my fridge every single day to make sure if there's anything in there that is going off. I can turn into soup, I can add to a meal to make it, bulk it out, make it stretch further, put it in the freezer. You know, these are all the things that I do. I don't waste anything, I use everything that I've got. And that's how I make my budget work. Just before Christmas, I bought a load of super cheap veg. The 15p and the 20p veg wars started. I bought a lot of veg and I got it all prepped and stuck it in the freezer. My freezers are full. My little chest freezer in my sewing room is full, and the fridge freezer is full of loads of yummy food. So this month in January, I will not need to spend. I went shopping about a week ago. The only thing that I'll need to buy is bread and milk. If I run out of anything, I run out. We're just going to make do till the end of the month so I can start getting these freezers down again. Yesterday was Sunday, so I made us a lovely chicken dinner. With the cheap veg. I was buying 15p bags of potatoes, taking the biggest potatoes out and cooking them and making them into jackets and then freezing them. I said to my son yesterday, oh, we're going to have chicken for dinner and do some orange mashed potato, he calls it. He's always called it that, which is just mashed carrot and swede and a bit of parsnip, again from the 15p Veg Wars. And I said, I'm going to do a jacket potato, and he's like, oh, don't want any more jacket potatoes. And I thought, oh gosh, that's all I've got at the moment. So what I did is I defrosted the jacket potatoes, I cut them then in half and into wedges, and I stuck them in the air fryer and I fried them for a bit and turned them into wedges. And he was like, oh, these potato wedges are gorgeous. But earlier he didn't want jacket potatoes, I just never told him. Another thing I do when I'm on a budget is I make a list. I write down everything, how much everything is going to cost. I go with my phone and I tally up everything as I'm going around, and if I've got £20 to spend, I take that £20 out of the bank, and that's what I do. I just take that £20 on my card at home, so I cannot spend any more than that. I have to stick, and if I have to walk around a little while, that's fine. I always say this, if you want to save money on your food budget, you're gonna have to sacrifice a bit of time to save money. That's how it works. I always say that to myself. We pay for convenience, don't we? We pay for convenience, and I know it's convenient sometimes to get it, but we pay a lot more for it. So yeah, I sacrifice a little bit of my time. So, thanks for watching, guys. Take care, and I will see you soon. Bye.